got a very festive red and white card for you today, and I have a see-through background, which is something kind of different, so I'll show you how that was achieved. We'll give you a quick run through on the products we'll be using. First up, the Ornate Holly Framed Noel, and we're using this background piece here. I'm also using the Poinsettia Filigree frame for the center of the card. On the sentiment, I've chosen a sentiment from the Peace, Joy, Love set, but it's a set that comes with these three together, and I've just cut it apart and used the peace part out of that. And the adhesive sheets, the A4 adhesive sheets, are what we're going to use to create our see-through background. And a couple other items. I have the Ice Snow glitter jewels, and I do the edges of my cards with a paper piercing ruler too. Okay, pop these to the side. There we go. So the first thing I've done is I've gone ahead and cut my background piece, and I'll show you what I used. On the Ornate Holly framed piece, I used the outside cutting edge, and I skipped this one, which is a frame cutting edge, and I used this one, and just cut those two, and that will give you that piece right there. So that is going to create the basis for our background. So the next thing you want to do is cover it with a self-adhesive sticky sheet. So I've cut it to size, and it's roughly, let's see, 5 3/4 inches square. Okay, and you want to make sure you have a craft mat underneath you or something that it won't stick to. I'm going to peel the backing off here and layer that up. And you might find it's a little easier to do a piece that's slightly larger and you can trim it afterwards, but I'm going to try to get it all on there nice and straight and even. There we go, not too bad. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure it's good and adhered, and we're going to coat it with ice snow. Now I'm going to do the back of it first, and there it is. Bring that in, and all of that exposed area has the adhesive poking through, so I'm going to pop that on there, burnish it in, okay. Take off the extra bit, because we don't want to waste it. And I'm going to just set that to the side for the moment. And now I'm going to peel the other side off, which is actually the top of the card. There we go. Go back to my copy paper, and now the entire top of that has got that sticky sheet where I placed it. So I'm going to put the ice snow all the way over the top of it. Let me make sure I've got it all well coated. That looks pretty good. And there again, burnish it in, use your fingers, take off the extra bit. That does two things. It saves your product, and it makes it adhere better to the sticky sheet. There we go. Let's tidy that up, and I'll show it to you. There we go. And there's my lid. That out of the way. Okay, so now you can see I've got a really pretty see-through sort of background. If you had put a piece of white card or something behind it, it would definitely dull that out and you would have more a tone-on-tone look. But what I want to do is I want to cut the center of that out now. So I'm going to bring in the Poinsettia Filigree frame, and I'm going to use the inside cutting edge and tape it into place. And of course, with that glitter on that, it's not always very easy to tape to, but I think we can get it to hold it in place. We will pop a couple pieces right there and just make sure it's centered nice and evenly, like that. Bring it back over to our mat there, and we're going to run it through the machine and try and get all the edges under there. There we go. You'll hear it crunching a little bit. Perfectly normal. And because it's a little bit thicker, you want to just double check and make sure you've gotten all the way through it. Yes, I think we have. Let's take our tape off. There we go. Because it's a fairly simple die there, it shouldn't have any problem cutting through that. So now I've got a really pretty aperture. So I've got one I've done ahead of time. So let me bring that over. And to help show that off a little bit more, I've raised it up with mounting foam. So you'll have a little bit of that light showing through, so it shows that clear background. And I've just gone around the edge with thin pieces and added it right to the edge. So I'm not actually covering any of the decorative design. I'm using those areas where the cutting edges were left out so that it creates a nice little void in there, so you have a place to naturally hide your mounting foam. I'm going to pop it onto a backing of white card. Let me try and center that. There we go. And then we're going to bring it over and put it onto our backing, which I've done the paper piercing, and I've got a red mat going through that. I'll use a little bit of glue on the background here. Now I have done a video that shows just how to paper pierce your edges separately, so you can actually look for that if you're curious how that's done. Pop that into place. So now we've created a really pretty frame for our centerpiece. So I'll show you what we've done to create that. I'm going to bring back the Poinsettia Filigree frame. I'm going to bring that over onto a piece of white card and tape it into place. Centering your cutting edge from your decorative piece. Looks good. Pop that over and quick run through. Take off our bits. Okay. There we go. Now, I've already gone and used this die to cut the backing piece out of red. So I can put them together. Let me bring it up here. There we go. Take off our little pieces here, and I've got just a couple little dots to poke out. I'm going to quickly use a little bit of spray glue for this, just because it's quicker. And line that up with the backing piece. Now from here, I want to cut the center out so it's nice and clean. Grab my tape, pop that down. Cut them out together. You have that very, very clean center. Much easier. There we go. So I've got a nice little frame that's going to sit in the center of my card. I've gone ahead and done one with a bit of mounting foam. So I'll go ahead and use that. Bring this piece back over and peel off my mounting foam. And I've recessed that down a bit by cutting that center into the background, and I'm raising this up, so I'm going to have a nice focal image that's recessed really pretty for your card here. Adding glue to the backing because I have that glitter on there, which is going to be, it's going to take a little while to get the glue to set up to that because it's more of a chunky glitter. Pop that over and just get it nice and straightly lined up. So we're going to leave that set up to dry for a few minutes, and I'm going to bring over the centerpiece. Now, out of just a piece of white card, I didn't want to use this because I had the red on there, and it would be very, very thick to cut through. Pop that back in place. But I've cut the center of this frame. And this is a beautiful poinsettia with a little edge around it. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. I've stamped my sentiment, which I said earlier was just a portion of a sentiment off that clear stamp set. And I'm going to use some spray glue on the back of this. Pop that right over the top of it. Get it nice and centered where I want it. And then I can bring this die back in. Use a different piece of tape on that. It's getting very glittery. Make sure that's good and down. There we go. And Just make sure you wiggle it about so you know it's back into place really well. And you can pop this one in there. Cut this out perfectly to match it now. There we go. Peel off your tape gently. So now I have a really nice sentiment, and this will fit in here absolutely perfectly. We'll put a little bit of glue on the back of it, get it all to the corners there, and recess this into the opening, which is the same exact shape it came from. Pushing it straight down, and just make sure you haven't wiggled it like I just did. There we go. And you've got an absolutely gorgeous card. A few pearls in the corner, and that will finish that off just beautifully. I think that's stunning. So I've got so many more videos for you to watch. Our YouTube channel is there for you, and all you have to do is subscribe to it, and it will send you an email every time we upload a new video. So I hope you've enjoyed today's show.